Greetings, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to my new Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast series. We have been overwhelmed with the responses that people have shared from listening to these messages on my SiriusXM show over the years. Those listeners, and they're sharing my show with their network, telling people about it, telling their family members, their friends, and their coworkers about this show and the impact it's having on their lives. That's the main reason that this show is now #1 for self-help in America, and I'm very grateful. Yet, we realize that many people do not have satellite radio and therefore could not experience for themselves the message. They could not get it for themselves. So we are now sharing these messages with everyone via this new podcast. Enjoy it and share it with your network. And let's help even more people to do more, be more, and achieve more. Tell everybody so that they can live a Wealthy Ways life as well. Welcome to the new Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. And remember, your best is yet to come. And I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it, just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are all wrapped up in it. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody across America, border to border, coast to coast, as my friend Joe Madison says. And to those who now we find are global, who are listening online to this show, whether it's on the air, on podcast, you are catching this message, and I'm grateful that you are catching it. Well, I am grateful that you took time out of your schedule to listen. I think it's a great investment to always find positive, upbeat material to help you have greater success. I listen to positive material in my car, in my travel time. And I applaud you for taking time out of your schedule to get personal and professional development through this program. I take a moment, as you know, the beginning of every show to quote that I have only just a minute, which is called God's Minute. It was written by Dr. Benjamin Mays, who was Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor. He taught Martin Luther King many things, but he also shared that minute and how important it is to make the most of every minute, God's minute. And I also start every show by taking a moment to give God some glory, to give God some praise and thank him for life and strength and health. I'm grateful for the fact this show is the #1 show on this network and on podcasts for motivation. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my speaking business, speaking for major corporations around the globe. I want to give a shout out to Guardian Life in Trinidad. I'm grateful for my books that have become bestsellers. And I'm grateful for all the other media opportunities and possibilities that we've been pursuing and have been coming to life. But most of all, I'm grateful for life. Grateful for strength and health. And that's a blessing, and I give God glory for that. I'm grateful for friends and family. So I start every show giving God glory and being thankful and grateful for the blessings he has given me. And I know everybody doesn't believe like I believe, but that's okay. I just got to make sure I take care of home base, because home base has been good to Willie Jolley. Now, I want to thank all of you who have made my new book, An Attitude of Excellence, a book that's now in demand, and those who have also bought or talked about my book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, with my wife, Dee, that has now gone into second print. And so by the time you hear this, we'll be preparing for this book to be also available in digital format. Not quite yet, but soon. And finally, I am so excited about the podcast. And so many of you have been listening to shows on the podcast and sending me emails and sending me messages saying how profoundly impactful it has been for your business. And that's what I want to hear, that you are being impacted in a positive way with your business. So grateful. Well, as usual, I get great guests to come on this show to give you their input, their perspectives, their life stories, their challenges, and how they overcame those challenges, and how you can overcome challenges as well using some of these strategies. My guest today started a business in 2006. She developed it and grew an online information marketing business that went from zero to over $1 million in sales in less than 12 months. In 2010, she started and grew an online newspaper or newsletter publishing company, and again, from 0 to 1 million in online sales quickly. In 2015, she did it again. From 0, she grew a weightless supplement company to 1.5 million in sales in 18 months. She makes things happen. Yet, she also had some challenges and setbacks during the process, which she's going to tell you how you don't let them stop you, how you let them propel you or help you propel to the next level. She's the author of multiple books, including Sexy Boss, How the Empowerment of Women Are Changing the Rule Book for Money, Success, and Sex and Power. And she's a host of a nationally syndicated radio show, the host of The Win, where she shares her stories of business success, loss on this entrepreneurial journey, and how you can find happiness in completely compelling and vulnerable ways that many folks really love. She talks about the winning edge, how you lose it all and gain it in the process of growing. Her name is Heather Ann Havenwood, and she is a smart business success savvy woman who is making it happening and making entrepreneurs know who she is. Heather, I have given you a thumbnail sketch of who you are. Why don't you tell me a little more detail, where you came from, where you grew up, and all that.
So first of all, thank you, Willie, for having me. And it's always, I don't know about you, but whenever someone reads my bio, I always kind of go, who's that? That's not me. I don't know if you ever had that experience. Like, really? That sounds pretty cool. Well, thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be here, truly. And I mean that in all honesty. But thank you so much for even just letting me just be in this space with you. I just really honored.
Well, you're making it happen, so I'm honored to have you. You're a go-getter, make it happen lady who has helped a lot of people and helping a lot of women. And that's one of the reasons why I was so intrigued about your book and your materials, because you really have a focus on helping women become more entrepreneurial. And a time where we see Me Too and so many other programs where we are elevating and giving women due respect that is way overdue. I thought your program, when your message was so profound. Well, tell us a little more about Heather Ann Havenwood, and where you came from.
You're Southern. Yeah, I'm Southern. I'm born and raised Houston. So Heather Ann is my mom for sure. When she was mad at me, it was Heather Ann. Yeah, I'm born and raised Houston, Texas girl through and through. Grew up debutante mom, and kind of grew up in an environment where I was told, what I was to be doing for a living is basically just getting married and having kids. And nothing wrong with that at all whatsoever. I knew that wasn't for me, There's only 3 things my mom wanted for me in life. She said, I want you to always look good when you leave the house, marry a rich guy, and have lots of babies. So, Willie, there's only one thing. My mom's like, well, at least I got one thing right? I always leave the house looking gorgeous, right? Mom, if you're listening, she's up in heaven. I'm like, I got one thing right, Mom. I always look good when I leave the house.
Right.
The other 2 I can do. So I was just really, I wasn't bred and born to be an entrepreneur, right? I wasn't bred for that. However, I really realized at a very young age that's who I am.
Yes.
And I always kind of look at the analogy of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, who he is an athlete, right? If you walked up to him and said, he's an athlete, he's like who he is. He breathes it. That's who he is. It doesn't matter what game he's playing, basketball or baseball or golf or whatever he's up to nowadays. Who he is being an athlete, and that's who I am. I'm just truly an entrepreneur, and I really want to help more women to discover that within themselves, because I wasn't really encouraged to do that. In fact, I was opposite. My mom called me one day in Orlando around 2003, and she, in her Southern voice, said, "Oh, my dear, I just heard that you are an entrepreneur." Oh, God. She was literally freaking out. And and I love her to death. She just wants me to be successful and happy. But I definitely wasn't encouraged.
Wow. Wow. So you weren't encouraged. You didn't come from entrepreneur stock.
No. Well, my father was, but I remember on that phone call, she said she actually had my uncle call me first. My uncle called me, and he doesn't really call me much. I was like, "What's wrong? Is everyone okay? Did someone die?" And he's like, "No, your mother's concerned about you." I said, "Why?" "Well, she says that you're starting businesses or something." And I went, "Well, yes." And I said, "Aren't you an entrepreneur?" "Yeah, well, I'm a man." And
Wow,
I go,
really? Did he say that?
"Yeah, but he's a guy."
Wow.
And I'm like, have to do with anything. So this was like in 2002, 3 when I'm just kind of getting my feet wet, and building. And so, and it's nothing against that. That's just, that's how they grew up, right? So I wasn't necessarily encouraged, but my mom then called me in her Southern way. She's like, "Honey, I just want to let you know I found you a job as a secretary in Hope, Arkansas for $8 an hour." I was like, "Mother, what are you I'm like literally living in Orlando. I'm flipping houses. I'm, being very successful. And I know she's coming from a loving heart. But my point is, and the reason I shared that story is that I didn't really come from an environment where people were like, "Go get it. You got this." I came from an environment where it was like they were freaking out for me, right?
Wow.
So I want people to know that it doesn't, I think when you find your calling of who you are, you've got to tap into that. And the people that are closest to you aren't always part of your fan club. And a friend of mine, a mentor of mine, Richard Flint, said to me, never keep anyone in your life that's not part of your fan club. And sometimes that's family. Doesn't mean you kill them off, but sometimes you just don't share everything, right?
Oh, let's go back. I like that. Never keep someone in your life who is not part of your fan club. Wow, that's a great way to say it, and a great analogy that you want people in your life who are cheering you on, who are the cheerleaders in your life, who are encouraging you, who are inspiring you, who are telling you, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, I believe you can do that. That's who you need in your life. Or those who will say, look, let's figure out a way for you to do it in a better manner, or give you some strategies to do it, but not someone who's not discouraging you. Is that correct?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, now looking back, people I have in my life now are either encouraging me or they're what I call moving me to the next level. They're going, hey, step it up, right?
Right.
One of the two. But I think back then I was young and I didn't understand that. And I love the analogy when Richard said that to me, never keep anyone in my life that's not part of my fan club. And I love this analogy. I'll share it with you because I'm very visual, Willie.
Yes.
But he gave me this analogy. He's like, imagine you're in New Orleans and you're going down Bourbon Street, right? It's a fun place.
Right.
Everyone in your life is there, and they're only in one of two places. They're either on those balconies, and I love that. They're screaming you on, and they're cheering you on, going, go, Willie, you got this,
Right.
Or they're in the gutter, and they're pulling at your heels.
Wow.
And he said, I just want you to just imagine yourself walking down the street, Bourbon Street, and everyone's there, and allow them in your mind to be what I call placed there. Like, you don't place them there. They will place themselves there energetically. And when I did that, some of the closest people in my life, family, they were in the gutter pulling me down.
Wow.
And
wow.
You have to really look at relationships and make decisions that are hard.
All right, now, I got to get to this so they can hear about how you went away for a conference, came back, and you built this big business, and your partner had stolen all the money, cleaned out the bank accounts. We got so many stories that you have to hear, folks. We're going to take a quick break. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. My guest is Heather Ann Havenwood, and we're going to be right back because we got more to come. And for sure, your best is yet to come.
Call me, call me, call me, call me, yes. Call me, oh yes. Call me if you need me. Call me, then call me, call me, oh, call me. Say you need a friend who'll be there when you win. Let's stand right by your side if you lose. Someone you can call in the midnight hour, and you know when you call won't refuse.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and if you're enjoying this information you're hearing on this podcast, I want to invite you to get even more great information on my new free gift page on my website. go to wjspeaks.com and hit the All Access badge. On that page, you will find information and resources specifically designed to help you to have greater success. Free ebooks, music, all sorts of interesting and informational interviews from my XM show. I'm telling you, this is a great page. And why do I do it? Because I've learned that the more we give, the more we get. And the more we help other people to grow and go to the next level, the more we receive in our business. So we want to help you. Tell your friends about it. Go to Facebook and get my information. Go to my website, get my free resources, and get on wjspeaks.com and hit that All Access badge. It looks like a backstage pass. Click it. You'll get behind the scenes information to the special page to help you grow. All we want in return, all we ask is that you pass it on, because the more you give, the more you get. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day.
A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the D to the E. A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the D to the E. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude.
And we're back. Dr. Willie Jolley, for sure. I'm excited about another opportunity to be on with you. Oh, my goodness, this is a great day to be alive. This is a great day for a great day. And my guest is Heather Ann Havenwood, who has built multiple million-dollar companies and has had massive success, but also had some tremendous just disappointments, setbacks, failures. And yet she did not let that stop her from her success. Well, you're telling the story. You grew up in the South, and your family was not always encouraging of you and your entrepreneurial vision and entrepreneurial journey. But nevertheless, you set out and you went to Florida. You started a business. Tell us about your first business.
Absolutely. So, I was in Orlando, Florida, and I started in 2001 traveling the country doing seminars on real estate investing. Those infomercials were like, come to our seminar at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and those kinds of things. So I was there. I was there at those events, and we did 6 events a week in different cities. I lived out of a suitcase.
Wow.
And I did that many, many years. I did that almost 7 years. And then, so I learned the art and science of the seminar business, how to structure that, how to sell information marketing products, which is what, how to buy and sell houses is. I also started a real estate company, of course, myself. And then I was approached by a gentleman who said to me, look, I'm really good at the thing called buying and selling houses. I've done this for a long time, very successful, but I don't know how to do it in the seminar world. How do I teach that? How do I create a business? There's 2 businesses there. There's the real estate side, and there's actually we call the information marketing, the seminar side. Right. And so I said, okay, well, I know how to do that one. Let's team up. And we did very well. So within one year, $0 to $1 million in 1 year. Because what I'm good at is branding and structuring that. And so everything was going great, life was good and all that. Until one day, I went off to a marketing seminar in Atlanta, and I was driving back, and I got to my home, which is where the office was. I got back to the office on Monday morning around 8 o'clock, and everything was gone. Everything was gone.
Wow.
Partner was gone. I had a full-time employee was gone. Bank accounts were emptied. Merchant accounts were rerouted. Like, sites are done. I had zero access to everything. And this was right at the edge of 2005-06, right when the market was starting to turn in real estate in Florida. So my house went into foreclosure, got triggered. I lost my house and was in bankruptcy, wiped everything out, all 2006 and 7. So I was living in my car by the 2007.
You went from living in a very prestigious area, big home, $1 million business, to living in your car.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was devastating on multiple levels. And I don't want, I'm not trying to do the whole woman thing, but I do want to, there's a weird society thing to that, because I didn't have a husband to say, honey, things aren't going well. I need you to continue to work with me to figure this out. Or
Right.
I didn't have a dad that I could go, hey, can I hang out with your basement? You know, I didn't have that privilege. I didn't have that. It was just me
Wow.
and my dog, you know,
Wow.
and luckily my car paid for, so I had that, right?
Right.
And I had to really look at, do I want to be an entrepreneur? This is crazy. And at the same time, this was right at the turn, like I said, 06 or 07 in Florida, if you remember that time.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get a job at Starbucks, right? I was like, I'll go get a job. And I would have started Uber the next day, right? Or
If there was
Lyft
such
or
a thing back then.
yeah, I would have like done whatever I had to do, but there was nothing, and the jobs just dried up. And
Right. We remember going through the 2008, for those who are old enough to remember. Some people might be new who are young, who are listening to this. 2008, there was a major recession. There was a real estate crash. There was a stock market crash. There was a lot of going down of businesses, and the real estate was at a all-time high, and people were flipping, and a lot of folks, when that went bad, it went real bad. So you got caught into a what we call a perfect storm. Your business partner leaves. He takes the money. He takes the business and the access to the codes and the bank accounts and the websites, your staff, and a recession hits at the same time.
And like all at the same time, right?
Wow. Okay, so what does a young lady from the South, what do you do to recover from that? I mean, what is it?
A lot of crying, I'm sure. But I had some good friends that I stayed on their couches and futons and some extra bedrooms, which was nice, and I honor and appreciate. You find out who your friends are, Willie.
Yep. That's right. You find out who your real friends are in tough times.
Yeah, you find out like who your real friends are. So I was living in Marco Island at the time in a friend's house, and the only bill I had was my cell phone that I paid cash. I didn't have enough money for a bank account. You find out little things like, oh, I didn't know you could pay cash with your cell phone bill, and I had to figure stuff out. So, here's what happened. I'm sitting in Marco Island, and it's a gorgeous island, luckily, and I said to myself, the only thing I promised myself every day is I'd go to the beach and see the sunset.
Wow.
That was my guarantee to myself. Like, if I can't do that, I got to do that. And I would just thank God, and I would just sit there and watch the gorgeousness of that, and just would thank God. I remember one day there was a huge epiphany, because I was really questioning who I am as a person, as a woman, as just a person. Like, who am I? It was a very dark time, and I'll never forget. I'm sitting there on the beach, and I look out, and I just really got clear that who I am as an entrepreneur, like at a really core level. Here I am sitting on the beach, broke, but who I am as an entrepreneur. And if I really look at what that means is an entrepreneur creates. They sometimes create and fail, create and succeed. They just create.
Let's say that again. An entrepreneur creates. Yeah. I like that. I like that.
It's because people have this view that entrepreneur means the success. No. An entrepreneur creates. Look at an athlete. How many times does an athlete fail? How many times does someone throw a ball and it doesn't go anywhere? How many times, right? The athlete is playing the game of the game. And an entrepreneur is in the creation. It is being, so it doesn't, what happens is I got really good with understanding failure. Just because I failed, or I could look at it as a failure, really I didn't fail. The business is still successful to this day in 2019. However, I succeeded because I created.
Right. I like to say,
yeah. It gives me permission to go create again, Willie.
And I like that. I like that, because what I say to entrepreneurs, an entrepreneur is someone who determines and designs, and you say create, their destiny. So they see their destiny, and rather than waiting for it to happen, they design their destiny, and they create their revenues from their thinking, and they create possibilities out of their mind. And, I was at a seminar just this week, and I was talking to folks, and I was saying, here's the thing about success. It always starts in your mind. First is the inner, then the outer. First is the thought, then the thing. And so if you can get the thought and then take action to create the thing and manifest it, you can start to have greater success. So that's what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I gave myself permission. It kind of sounds weird, but you get this, Willie. I gave myself permission to fail.
Wow.
When you give yourself permission to fail, people, you give yourself permission to succeed.
Oh, come on. Say that one more time. Oh, I like that. Say it one more time.
When you give yourself permission to fail, it's in that moment you give yourself permission to succeed.
Wow.
Right? You can't succeed without understanding failure. Again, go back to an athlete, right? They fail and fail and fail and fail and fail, right? And then they succeed. And then we look at all their successes. I'm like, they don't see the 1,000 failures.
Wow. Right, that's
I
right.
have a lot of failures. I mean, you were very gracious and shared a lot of my successes. I have a ton of failures.
And you know what? Every great entrepreneur does. Every great entrepreneur has multiple failures, but they don't see them as failures. They see them as learning lessons, as stepping stones to get to their goals. So I love that.
Thank you. It's a license. Someone said to me once, Heather, they made me write on a piece of paper, and so I'm going to give people this exercise because it was very powerful for me that day. He goes, I want you to take this pen, get a piece of paper, and write this out. I, Heather Havenwood, give myself full permission to fail.
Wow.
And I was literally shaking. I'm like, why would I do that? He's like, because in that moment you just gave yourself permission to succeed. You have to own both sides. It's like the light and the dark. How can you believe in the light and God if you don't believe in there's a darkness?
Right, that's right. And now you're sharing this with women, particularly women, which that's what I love about your message. It's for everybody, but you're empowering women. Many of them, as you said, might not have a husband, might not have a dad, might not have a sugar daddy to support them or whatever, and that yet they have made up their minds that they don't need that. They've got themselves, and they've given themselves permission to be a winner amongst themselves.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Thank you for that. And it's bliss, and it's a labor of love. It's not perfect, but I just feel like every day when I wake up, as long as I'm creating and I'm consistently moving forward, I'm a success. I get to say if I failed or not. I get to say if I succeeded or not. I'm the one who gets to say. But the reason why it's so important, I think, with women specifically with the failure, is that we are kind of taught from a very, very young age, right, to be perfect, to raise our hand for permission. We're taught that extremely young, and we are given what I call kudos to be a good little girl, right, and walk inside the lines. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to break that and go walk outside the lines. And little boys are given a little more permission and freedom to go be messy and to go break things, they're just being boys, So for women, I think they need a little bit more encouragement to be like, hey, it's okay. It's okay to go cross the lines. It's okay to fail. It's okay to have that experience, because in that moment, you also gave yourself permission to succeed next time.
Wow. This is powerful to me, because you're speaking to so many women who maybe have felt that they couldn't. I just saw a movie about, what was it? I saw the movie The Wife. The Wife is up for a number of Academy Awards, and how the wife really was, I can't give the punchline, so somebody might not have seen it, but the wife was told by a college person when she was in college that women couldn't write, and she bought into that and never pursued her greatness with full gusto. Look, we're going to take a quick break for station identification. We'll be right back, because we've got Heather Ann Havenwood, who has built multiple million-dollar companies and now is empowering women across America to stand up and be all they can be. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and for years I've told people that in order to have a greater life, it starts by having greater individual days. If you have a great day and you repeat that great day 7 times, you've had a great week. And you repeat that week 4 times, you've had a greater month. And then repeat that month 12 times, you've had a greater year, and you're on your way to a greater life. And it starts with that individual day. I recommend you start each day with something powerful. I call it the pure, the powerful, and the positive. Rather than starting your day with bad news, how many people got killed, or how many children got snatched, or how many fires there were, I recommend you start your day with something to inspire and empower and encourage you to make this day a great day. We're excited to announce the start of Jolley TV on my Facebook page. Go to Willie Jolley, Willie.Jolley on Facebook. Just go to Willie.Jolley on Facebook and get ready for a great day and a great life. Have a great day on purpose. And we're back. Dr. Willie Jolley. Hope you're enjoying today's show. If you're just tuning in, you got one that's this is a barn burner. And particularly if you are an entrepreneur and if you are a female, a woman entrepreneur, this is a show that you want to make sure you sit and listen to, because Heather Havenwood has shared already some things that are profoundly impactful, as well as the fact that she is giving you encouragement when things don't go well, when you do fail, when you have setbacks. She is telling you how to get past them and the process. Now, you've been doing this all over the country now. You've got a program now. Tell us what you're doing now. What kind of businesses are you helping people to grow now? And what are you doing? You're coaching and you're teaching and you're speaking. And tell us all about what you're doing now.
So I'm trying to be like you, Willie. I'm just trying to be.
Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Yeah, you are definitely a mentor of mine and someone I look up to. So thank you for what you do. But honestly, I have a book out, Sexy Boss. I have a couple other books out, but that's kind of my trademark book because I'll share the little
Sexy
story.
Boss. Now, I love that. Sexy Boss. Looking good, beautiful, but tough as nails. Am I right about it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I wrote the book, Sexy Boss, mainly from a friend of mine. He's like, you need to share your story. So I need to say this part. So back in 2006, when I was kind of what I call coming to a Jesus moment, where I was realizing this thing was happening called a foreclosure and bankruptcy, it took me a while I was definitely avoiding the conversation. And I finally kind of got to this, okay, this is happening to me. And I had a dear friend of mine who in California, he's a mentor and coach, and he said, one day, Heather, you're going to share your story. And my response to him was, I'm not going to say it online because it was bad, but it was pretty much like a hell no kind of conversation. Because I was so embarrassed. I was embarrassed by that failure.
Yeah.
I felt like I was a failure. And so here I am in 2013, and a dear friend of mine, Joe Sugarman, who's the CEO of Blue Blocker, said to me across the table from having a salad in Vegas, visiting him, he goes, you're kind of like a sexy boss. And I was like, what does that mean? He goes, well, you're sexy because you own who you are as a woman, and you're a boss because you're the boss of your life.
Wow.
He's like, you should write a book and tell your story. And
Say that again. Say that again.
He said, he's like, you're like a sexy boss. You own who you are as a feminine woman, but then you're a boss because you own all areas of your life.
Wow. Wow.
So that's what, to me, Sexy Boss is. And Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, chapter 12, I believe, is called Sex Transmutation. And that particular chapter is about that. In men, we call that charismatic.
Right.
Like he walks into a room and it's like, bam. In the women, there's sometimes a negative connotation, but there's women out there like Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez. They are powerful, sexy bosses. They own their femininity. They own who they are as women, and they're powerful and loving business women and also mothers and wives. And they own all areas of their life. And that's the sexy boss part. That's who they are.
Wow.
That's what I want other women to be able to say. I can own all areas of my life.
I love that. I love that. See, that's why I wanted people to hear your story. When we spoke on the phone, I was so impressed that she told me the story, how she was living out of her car, how she had gone bankrupt, how she lost everything after having, millions of dollars coming in, and lost everything and made a decision that she was going to not let that break her spirit and break her willingness to keep fighting. And now she has a syndicated radio program. She is well demand for her messaging. And I am excited about the fact that you're showing it's possible. It's possible. And so thinking about that, when you go to speak for groups, whether it's a women's group or a entrepreneurs group, what are some of the tips you give them on growing their business, growing their success?
So going into more tactical, right, more tactical versus mindset, I go into things like your message to market and their media. So there's three elements of business: your message, your market, and your media.
Okay.
So this is media. This is a radio is a media, podcast is a media, Facebook advertising is a media, but making sure your message to market is clean. So I go right into the details of message to marketing. That's kind of my elixir. And I work with them on their brand. How do you get your brand out there? You're a master at it, but there's a lot of people that they don't know how to get their messaging right. Like, how do I get my message out there, Heather, in such a way that it lands and people are attracted to me? How do I do that
Right.
in a succinct way?
Right.
You know, and so that's where I kind of come in and I coach people in that process. And right now what I'm really focusing on is helping people create their own podcast, create their own shows, create their own message to market their own platforms, as well as helping them with PR and getting out there with their message.
Now, before we go too far, how can some people might be listening in their car or on their way to work, and they say, you know, I want to know this lady. I want to know more about her. Where do they reach Heather Ann Havenwood?
Thank you. So it's heatherhavenwood.com. It's Heather, H-E-A-T-H-E-R, Haven, H-E-V-E-N, wood.com. So you can find me there. There's a form. There's a little button that pops up when you get to the website, and it's connected to Facebook, which is my chat bot, and I actually answer those personally. So feel free to reach out to me via my Facebook Messenger chat bot.
Wow. HeatherHavenwood.com, folks. And where can they get your books? They get them there? Can they get them anywhere else?
Yeah, they can go to heatherhavenwood.com/Amazon, and it'll take them right to Amazon. It'll take me to my page. It has all my books right there.
Wow. Awesome. Okay, now let's finish telling people. So what do you tell people? One of the things you tell them is message, market, and media. What else do you tell them they have to do to become a success in business?
So one of the things I wanted to share this with you is a moment when I was living in Marco Island again, and literally had nothing. And I had a friend of mine who lived on the east coast of Florida called me and said, hey, why don't you come to dinner? I think I can help you and talk to you. And I said, honestly, I can probably get there, but I don't have enough gas money to get back. He's like, I'll take you to dinner and I'll give you gas money to get back. And I was like, okay, I'll come, right? And luckily it was a great steak and I had a great time, but he gave me one of the most powerful lessons that I still use today, Willie. And this is what I teach all the time, but I got to give him kudos. It was my friend Richard Flint.
Okay.
He said, Heather, I want you to start asking yourself this question before you do anything in life. Does this feed my confusion or strengthen my clarity? Does this feed my confusion or strengthen my clarity? And it goes back to an analogy of a train. Right, a train is on one track, and the only way it gets to full momentum, 100 miles an hour or more, is if it's clear. And we are not clear, we are spinning. And when we're spinning, we can never get to momentum.
Wow.
So when we get clear, you've got to get on that track and allow yourself to go to 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, 30 miles. It takes a lot for a train to get forward. It takes a lot for a business to get to momentum. It takes a lot. And so I want to remind people that when you get clear, that's power.
Now tell me, let me give you the next step to that. Well, someone says, okay, I like that. When I get clear, how do I get clear? I got so much stuff going on. I got family and I got work and I got this idea and I got that. How do I get clarity? What do you recommend?
Great question. I go through this myself, and it's a simple thing, but when you're thinking about that thing or that idea, really just close your eyes and ask yourself and just go in for a second. Go, does this feed my confusion or strengthen my clarity? And you would be surprised how God, universe, will just say to you, I'm adding a lot of drama in your life there, girl or boy, versus it feels good. And another way to think of it is you'll feel light or heavy. So light is clear, heavy is confusion and drama. So the more we get clear and the more success that we have, the easier it is to have momentum and power.
Wow. So how did you go from broke, busted, in your car, couch surfing, to becoming becoming who you are today? I mean, what was the process? Because you're a very successful businesswoman now. Radio show, books, seminars, coaching. What did you do?
Honestly, it was that question. I don't want to sound trite, but it's just true. I started to really ask myself the question, does this feed my confusion or strengthen my clarity on everything? And that means
everything.
That means what's in my fridge, down to, does that piece of chocolate, is that going to cause confusion or strengthen your clarity of life.
So
right?
you use that as your bellwether for everything, your North Star. Let me go through this. This is a formula that's working for me, and I'm going to keep doing it. Is this strengthening my clarity, or is this feeding my confusion? And I talked to someone just the other day, and I told them, a gentleman called me. He had read my books, and he had seen me on TV, and he said, I got this project that you would be great for. And he sent me all sorts of notes and calls and calls and calls and notes and emails and calls. So I finally was in my office, and I responded to one of his emails, and he said, can I call you right now? And he was telling me his pitch, and it was, what he would want me to do. And I said, you know what? There's an old saying, my friend, that I must share here. He who chases two rabbits ends up eating neither. And so I know what my path is. I'm doing my path. It's a lot on my plate right now. For me, you can make money over there, yes, but I would be also feeding a distraction. And once I feed that distraction, then I'm lost clarity of what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I'm staying on track, and I'm staying right here. I appreciate it, but I've got to stay on the path that I know will give me not only income, but also fulfillment. And that's what I think you've talked about today is getting clarity in your fulfillment of who you are, what you're supposed to do, and then go at it. Am I right about it?
Yeah, yes. I mean, that's 100%. And I remember when my friend Richard said this to me at that dinner, I looked at him and I said, I don't even have anything going on to even ask that question. He said, start with the smallest things.
Woo! Start small and go big. Scripture says, don't curse the day of small beginnings. That's how Scripture says it. And so
that's a good one.
Don't curse the day of small beginnings. And I've had more people who I've talked to over the years, so I've said, just start where you are. Start with what's in your hand. There's so many times I've heard people say, use what's in your hand. And again, Scripture, we talk about Moses was at the Red Sea, and he said, what do I do? I got this Red Sea in front of me. The Egyptians are behind me. I got these people waiting on me. And God said, use what's in your hand. He said, all I got in my hand is this rod. He said, use it, throw it down. And it became a rod of power. So use what's in your hand. If you got a little house, maybe start having seminars in your house. You got a car, what Heather just said. Use that to do Uber until you can build your business. Do what you've got with what you've got to work with, and then go from there. I love what you're talking about. And the fact that you're not just someone who talked about it, who read about it, but who doing it and being about it, who making it happen because you've done it. You've been in your car. I think of Steve Harvey. I was on the radio with him a number of years in D.C. before him, and he started in his car. Now you see him everywhere on TV, everywhere, books, on movies, because he used what he had. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. We got one more segment with Heather, and she's going to give you some tips to help you to grow your success right now and make this the best year ever. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. And for sure, the best is yet to come.
Life had enough ups and downs, but Lord, since I met you, all that's changed in the blink of an eye. Now all my heart wants to do is fly.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and people often ask, how did I go from a broke, busted nightclub singer to become a best-selling author and to be voted one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters International? The answer is that I decided to invest and change my thinking, invest in my mindset, and decided to change my inputs, because inputs determine outputs. I heard about a seminar years ago when I was just getting started. I was making about $100 a speech. And I heard this seminar that was creating millionaires, and it cost $10,000, but the guy was getting results. I didn't have that kind of money, but I decided to borrow it, because I learned that there's a price for success, the price of college, the price of going to school, the price of education. And there's a price for success, and then there's a cost for not paying the price. the cost of staying the same. And that cost is greater than the price. It's too expensive. And so I went and it changed my life. And I came back and quickly made $100,000. I heard a similar story from Dr. Dave Martin, how he went to a success rally, heard a speaker who inspired him. He and his friend said, wow, that's changed my life. The speaker had a package of materials to help build wealth. The package cost $1,500. And that was all the money Dr. Dave had to his name. Dr. Dave's friend asked, do you think this stuff is worth it? Dr. Dave thought for a moment. He said, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. But I do know that I'm worth it. I'm worth it. He invested that money in that package and used the materials to grow his thinking. He grew his mindset. He shared how that $1,500 investment has gone on to generate millions in revenues. He's a multimillionaire. And he has homes now in Arizona and Florida. I want to say to you, it's time to invest in you. I want to give you some materials that will help you, grow your mindset, grow your future, grow your finances. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire. wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get some materials that will inspire your success and will help you find that there's a price for success, but there's a cost for not paying the price. And the cost is always greater than the price. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire and get the bag, the box, or any of the materials there and keep growing your wealth. And remember, as a man thinketh, so as he is, and your best is yet to come.
Gonna take it to the top.
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley and my special guest, Heather Ann Havenwood. Before we go any further, people got to know how to reach you, how to get in touch with you, how to sign up for your newsletters, how to bring you in to speak for them. Tell them where they can reach you.
My name is Heather Havenwood, and you can find me at heatherhavenwood.com, and that's heatherhavenwood.com.
And the radio show. Please tell them about the radio show, which I'm a guest on as well. But you've got a dynamite radio show that's just powerful. Where can people hear it?
Yeah, thank you for that. They can hear it in tons of places, but the easiest place, of course, is iTunes. You can go to iTunes to type my name in, Heather Havenwood. Like a Boss. I just recently changed it to Like a Boss. Really focusing on insights with influencers, entrepreneurs, and really awesome people like you, Willie.
Thank you.
So it's called Like a Boss with Heather Havenwood.
Wow. It's on terrestrial as well as online and well as podcast. She is making it happen, and she's building it. She's building it as we see. This is like you see this house that's coming up out of the ground that's being built brick by brick, and there's no fluff or stuff. It's really a great house because she's building it with her hands, brick by brick. Okay, so I always like to ask my guests, if you were going to a college business class and these young, budding, interested entrepreneurs want to be successful like you're successful, what are some of the tips you would say, hey, here are the things you got to do to be a success in America? Give us a couple of them.
So I would have two big ones.
All right.
Okay. The first one I would do is entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
Woo, come on.
Yeah, it's really not. And I have people all the time come to me and go, oh, I really want to be an entrepreneur. And they've maybe been in corporate America for 20 years. And that's fine. Okay, people think there's like what I call a sexiness to entrepreneurship. The reality is that it's challenging.
Right.
It's extremely challenging. Right. You have to be responsible for everything and everyone all the time. That's challenging. I honestly say it's not for the weak of heart, and I honestly would say that it's not for everybody.
Right.
And that would be kind of deterrent, but it's true. Right.
Okay.
So that's the first thing.
Yes.
The second thing is, someone told me this once: never stay where your presence is not valued. That's a really powerful one for men and women, but we recognize that sometimes as entrepreneurs, we try to push our way into something. We try to force something to happen, or we go into crowds where our presence is not valued. We try to force people to, quote unquote, like us or force our products and services. It's best to always come from places value. And sometimes our presence or our products and services are not valued. And if they're not valued, just move on. Move next.
Right.
Next. And that's a challenge for entrepreneurs specifically because they take it personal. When someone says no to their product or service, or like you and I speaking and whatnot, people take it like they're rejecting ourselves, us, you know? And so that's one thing you have to let go of. Instead, to say, is my presence valuable here? If it's not, that's okay. It's okay. You can move on. You're still valuable.
We had a show some years ago. I had guests on who said, go for no. And the name of their whole program was Go for No. Find out how many no's you can get to the yes. Because if you can get that kind of force field in your mind that no is not personal. It's just not a personal declaration of how people don't like you. It's just they're not feeling what you got. So get through the no's quick, because statistics show it takes 17 no's to get a yes. So if you can get through the no's quick, you get to your yes faster. And so what we want to encourage people is, one, that entrepreneurism, you got to have a real stomach for entrepreneurism. And it's almost like investing. Some people are investors, and they are heavy-duty, high-risk investors. They got a stomach for it. They can handle it. While other people, you know, they might want to buy a bond because their stomach, they can't sleep at night. And so when I started as an entrepreneur, I've been doing it for so many years, but when my wife became an entrepreneur, she came clicking and screaming because her parents had been entrepreneurs and she'd seen how hard they worked. And she just wanted to get a good government job and stay there. But I said, look, I need you. You help run a whole congressional office. You could help run my team. And so she said, I don't know. And it took her a while, but here's what I did. To help her become an entrepreneur, I started feeding her motivational, inspirational materials. I would say, hey, I read this book. It's called Think and Grow Rich. I like your opinion. Would you just tell me what you think about it? Or The Strangest Secret. Listen to this audio. And I want your opinion. Rather than say, you need this, I'd say, I want your opinion. I'd stroke her ego. And she would read it. By the way, anybody who wants a copy of the book, Think and Grow Rich, you can go to williejolly.com/gift. If you haven't read it, go there. You can get a digital version. And I want to bless people. I was one of the 53 thought leaders that was on the Napoleon Hill Foundation program some years ago. And so I get to give that to my friends as a gift, and all your friends of Heather who might be listening, go to williejolly.com/gift and get my gift of that. But anyway, I started changing my wife's mind by feeding her. Your inputs determine your outputs. And once she started changing, she became more entrepreneurial. Now she runs everything, and she's an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. So she had to grow into it, and she had to develop the stomach for it. And also, I want to encourage you, what Heather also said to people is this. You've got to make sure you've got people in your network who are thinking about big things, big ideas. Get in your network of positive thinking people. People who are going places, doing things, excited about life, excited about their future. And I am always impressed with women who get mastermind groups. My wife has a group of women who get together. They don't coffee clash. They're not talking about what somebody's wearing. They're talking about business. They're talking about dollars. They're talking about investments. And so that's what you want to get around, people who are doing that. And it's so powerful when people like Heather are leading the charge, holding the flag, taking the mountain, saying, charge, let's go and take the mountain. I'm just impressed with you. I'm inspired by you. And when I looked at your materials that I came across, I said, this lady is on fire. I mean, fire. You're on fire.
Thank you.
What keeps you fired up? What keeps you fired up?
What gets me fired up, is that what you said?
Well, I said, what keeps you fired up?
Well, what keeps me fired up, honestly, is I call it the labor of love, which is Think and Grow Rich concept of the labor of love. What is labor of love? Someone asked me last week, they said, what would you do if you made $200 million in the lottery or something? And I thought about, would I go to Bora Bora and hang out? Maybe for a week. But honestly, this is what I would do. This is who I am. This is what I do. This fires me. The fact that I get to do what I want in this world and create every single day and talk to people like you and just create and help people, honestly, that's what fires me up.
Wow.
If I made $200 million right now, I'm sure I would go to Bora Bora or something like that for a week or two. But honestly, I would be right back here helping people and supporting people. And because I think, honestly, that time when I was completely broke, it changed me. It changed who I am on a core level and why I do what I do. I breathe it, just like Michael Jordan and whatnot. He doesn't have to play anything anymore. He could just hang out, but he still plays, and because who he is as an athlete.
Right.
He's not doing professionally more, but he does other things. And so I think, honestly, part of the process of learning and being inspiring yourself and keeping that fire alive is finding something that just is a labor of love. And I say that because not everything's blissful, in this business. Everything's not happy, perfect, but it's a labor. It's like a relationship. It's a labor of love.
Yes.
And that's
I think that's a
what
great
keeps me going.
question, and I've used that question. If you won the lottery today and got $100 million, what will you do tomorrow morning? Most people say, I'm not going back to my job. I hate my job, or I quit. But if they ask me that same question, I do exactly what I'm doing today. I just do it at another level. I just do it at another level.
I would do it at another level. I would do it a whole other level, but I maybe take off a week or two for Bora Bora.
Yeah, I'll take off a couple weeks and go to have somebody drop grapes in my mouth and while I sit on the beach. But after a couple weeks, I'm ready to get back at it because I love what I do. Well, Heather Ann Havenwood, you have been fantastic. One more time where people can reach you.
Thank you so much, Willie. I appreciate your time, and thank you to everyone. My website is HeatherHavenwood.com. That's HeatherHavenwood.com. And thank you so much, Willie.
My pleasure. Folks, this has been a great one. I love this energy. Women, I want you to share this podcast, this show with everybody in your network. Tell them that there's a young lady who's on fire helping women to be empowered, the Sexy Boss movement. And then I want to encourage everybody to go to get the gift at williejolly.com/gift. Go get it. I mean, williejolly.com/gift. Go get my new book, An Attitude of Excellence. Get a free chapter at attitudeofexcellence.com. Attitudeofexcellence.com, and get a copy for everybody in your organization. Great people give great service. Good people give good service. Mediocre people only can give mediocre service, and negative people will kill your organization and your future. If that's you, then it'll kill your own future. So change your thinking, change your life by changing your inputs. Get that book, An Attitude of Excellence. It's at Amazon, bookstores, online, wherever you want it. If you want an autographed copy, just reach my office. And finally, I want you to make a commitment to get a copy of my marriage book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. Go to jollymarriage.com. Get the free chapter. jollymarriage.com. Get the free chapter. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. And for sure, your best is yet to come. Have a great day, great week, great month on purpose. God bless you.
Are you tired of crying and complaining? Tired of feeling like life don't treat you fair? Do you see so many others moving on while you're steady going nowhere? Have you maybe come to the conclusion that there's nothing at all that you can do? Well, just look in any mirror and you'll see who is really truly stopping you. My. It's up to every one of us to take charge of our life and to make it what we want. If you think that it takes too much time, think again, 'cause I'm telling you it don't. The fact is, it only takes a minute to make up your mind that now is your time to make your run. It only takes a minute, 60 seconds to begin to decide to win. Just get it on. Just get it on.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.